Yes, we are. And I'm unmuted, but I cannot see myself. Come on. There we are. We lost the other Nick. Oh, and I'm coming through my own
There he is.
phone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the
Hold on.
third episode ever of the 60-Yard Dash. I am the CEO himself, Jake. Next to me, I got Nick from Talk Interference, and down below we have our new 60-Yard Dash co-host. We have our main man, Bryce. Bryce, how the hell are you, man?
Happy to be here, man. I appreciate you having me.
How the hell are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
So, we're doing things a little bit differently. We got 3 hosts now. I'm excited. Nick, are you excited?
I'm super stoked, and I'm excited to hear what Bryce has got to say.
We already know Bryce is excited. He started by saying that. So I don't need to say that.
Ecstatic.
Now, I do... Heather's first comment. Heather, we love you. I want you to know we love you. You're on every single show, commenting every night. You are literally our #1 fan, and we appreciate you so much. So go ahead and ask a question about the Patriots. We'll start with what we have, and we'll get into the Patriots when we wrap back around. I do believe I sent you guys the timesheet, right?
I got it.
And that means we're opening with the top 5 running backs.
Yes, sir.
Swing it straight to Bryce and let him open it up.
All right, man. So number 1, I got probably no arguments here. Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, I got Nick Chubb. 3, the thing where we started to disagree, I got Alvin Kamara, number 3. 4, I got Zeke. 5, I got Joe Mixon.
All right. Well, so okay. Right away, my list is completely different than yours. The number one unanimous is obviously Christian McCaffrey.
No doubt.
Everybody,
Run CMC.
Nick, you have CMC at 1, 2, right?
I do.
Okay. So we'll get into it real quick. Why do you have? Well, actually, let's go to 5. Nick, who do you have at 5?
At 5, I got Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb.
Wow.
He's got his first Pro Bowl being the full-time starter, and 8 touchdowns, just shy of 1,500 at I think it was 1493 and 3rd overall in 2019. I think so. And he caught 36 passes last year with 278 yards, logging a 73% catch rating, man. A 73% catch rating, that's why he's one of the most dual threat running backs, and that's why I have him at 5.
And Gavin, our buddy Gavin, Mixon, Kamara, and Chubb, all in the top 5? I don't have Mixon and Chubb in my top 5 at all. Let me make that clear. Mixon is my number 6.
Wow.
Ezekiel Elliott is my number 7, mind you. So
That's pretty brutal.
It's definitely brutal. Now, my number 5 is Derrick Henry. And I got Derrick Henry with his league-leading 303 attempts, league-leading 1,540 in yardage, 16 touchdowns with a 5.1 average. He had the 8th best offensive line. You're going to notice a trend in my guys. The 8th best offensive line in the league. I'm already out of my mind because let me guess, Gavin, you and your crazy conspiracy that Ezekiel Elliott is the best running back in the league. I'm guessing that's why. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Here's why I have Henry in my top 5. Tannehill's his quarterback. That's the main reason why. I think they're going to figure out pretty quick, stack the box, make Tannehill throw it, and Henry's going to have a rough season.
Henry will literally just barrel over these guys, though. Now, Henry has the 8th best offensive line, but the biggest issue with that is that 2 of them have now left the team in free agency. Yeah. So we're going to see what Derrick Henry is really made of this year without Lewin and I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head. Who is it?
Conklin. John Conklin.
Yes.
Went to the Browns.
So he's going to have a rough year if he cannot just barrel over people like he was. Now,
yeah, he bulldozed through defenses last year. Absolutely bulldozed through.
It's going to come down to, is Derrick Henry a product of that offense, or does he really carry that offense? And towards the end stretch, it looked like he carried that offense.
But you look with Henry too. He was behind Dion Lewis for what, the first 2 years of his career. Couldn't he beat Dion Lewis out?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have him in my number 2 spot. I actually have him in my number 2 spot. And the main reason why I put him so high is because in 2 very important winner-go-home games, he drove the football down the New England Patriots and heavily favored Baltimore Ravens' throats in the playoffs with 182 yards rushing and 195 yards. And it took the Super Bowl winning team to stop him.
No rebuttal from Bryce?
I mean,
who didn't
I
just can't get.
I wanted to. I just couldn't. I just can't get over the Chubb disrespect, man. I mean, Nick, you said you had him at 5.
I got him at 5.
He's not even in your top 5, Jake.
He's at my 8 spot.
1,500 yards rushing. They upped the offensive line. They brought in Kevin Stefanski. You see what Dalvin Cook did with him last year. Bringing Austin Hooper. Now you're going to be running out of 2 tight end sets.
I did see what Dalvin Cook did with him last year. We'll get to that in a few minutes, though.
Yeah, all right. But I can't get over the Chubb disrespect, man. It's baffling me.
Bryce, who'd you have it for again?
I went with Zeke, number 4.
Okay, and who do you have it for, Nick?
I got Barkley.
All right, I got Alvin Kamara at number 4, and this one came really close. My 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all extremely close. I chose Kamara simply because if you take his numbers and give him that healthy time, he is producing as the number 1 running back in the league. Now, my big hesitating spot here is that he had the 5th best offensive line in the league in 2019. And to put that into reference, Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys are the number 2 offensive line in the league. And that's why Zeke is so far down, because I can go run behind that offensive line. Darren McFadden already did it and ran for 1,000 plus yards. So anybody in Dallas can run. That's why I had Zeke so low.
Even when the Cowboys look for Dak to throw the ball, which, didn't really happen that much, but it happened some last year. They run the ball less when that happens, obviously. But when it did happen, Henry, Chubb, and CMC were the only running backs in the league that rushed for more yards. And to top all of that, CMC and Henry were the only other running backs to have more touchdowns. That's why I got him at 3.
I put Zeke at 4. I looked at stats last year, but I also looked, situations change every year. So I'm positive Mike McCarthy's brought in to fix Dak or make Dak better. That's evident by drafting CeeDee Lamb in the first round. Xavier McKinney was on the board. So I think Zeke's numbers dipped this year. I think they're going to lean heavy on the passing game. Mike McCarthy, who was the running back in Green Bay while he was there? Anybody remember?
He had Eddie Lacy. He had Ahmed Green at one point towards the tail end of his career.
Yeah, Eddie Lacy. He's a pass-heavy guy.
But don't you think with a good running back in Zeke Elliott, when we start relying on Dak to throw the ball and everyone knows that they're going to be throwing the ball more, it opens up a really good run lane, even behind that offensive line. That Dallas offensive line is really good. Don't we think that maybe just slightly this might open up Zeke's numbers just because now when you have a good pass game, it opens up the run game?
The key piece to Dallas's offensive line retired.
Yeah.
Travis Frederick ran. We'll get there, Anthony. You're getting ahead of us right now. We'll get to number 1. But the number 1 offensive lineman in Dallas retired. He carried that offense. He was double teaming defenders. Travis Frederick is phenomenal. You can't get around that. So, the other 4 are good. Zach Martin.
Tyron Smith.
Travis Frederick. We're really going to see what Zeke is made of, much like Derrick Henry. These are make it or break it years for these guys.
I 100% agree on that.
Number 3. Remind me again, Bryce, because I have a horrible memory. Who do you have at 3?
I got Kamara at 3, just kind of piggybacking off what you said. I mean, he averaged 4.7 yards per carry. To me, 4 is the benchmark of a good season, so right there at 5. I don't know if you guys read the report come out last week. He was playing on a partially tore ACL.
I did see that.
I mean, and he still had 533 yards receiving.
Oh, I like this comment. So we'll get right back to the top 5 running backs in the league going into 2020. But which quarterback do you see could carry the Patriots to another Super Bowl who would be a better match with Julian Edelman? All right, first things first, this ain't about Edelman. Under no circumstances, Edelman going to be on that team past the trade deadline. I originally said past the start of the season. He is going to get traded to free up the money. End of story. Now, if you want to talk about quarterbacks leading the Patriots to a Super Bowl, the answer is not Jarrett Stidham. The answer is not Cam Newton. The answer hasn't been drafted in the NFL yet. They are not contenders this year. If they don't take a quarterback in the first round next year, they're not contenders next year. Unless, of course, they take Aaron Rodgers like the what are we calling it? The news sites, the fake news sites are saying, the rumor sites that Aaron Rodgers could end up in New England. It very well could happen, but he's not coming back to New England. At the end of that 2 years, he's done.
Oh, Gavin, don't do that to me, brother.
Bryce, what do you think about that?
I'm with you, man. I mean, that Patriots roster, if you really look at it, it's not a good roster. I don't think any quarterback in the league can – I mean, Tom Brady couldn't do it last year. And from what I'm seeing out of training camp, Tom Brady still looks like he's playing good football. So if he can't do it, I mean, Pat Mahomes, but no chance he ends up there. You got to draft a quarterback playing for the future.
I think, the New England Patriots dynasty was a very long one, guys. And it's finally time we're seeing that restart button get hit.
Yeah, be careful with how you say that, Nick, because if they draft Trevor Lawrence, the rest of the league is screwed for another 20 years.
Yeah, but do you think that they're going to tank hard enough that Trevor Lawrence is going to fall to the New England Patriots?
They got the capital to move up.
I don't.
They got the capital to move up.
I was going to say, you get a number, let's say they only end up with the 6th pick.
Are you seriously telling me that you think that Tom Brady moves their capital of the team that far ahead?
It's not just about Tom
Brady. They're going to go down all the way.
No, I mean, they trade back. They got mid-round picks, the capital to move up.
Dante Hightower opted out. Patrick Chung opted out. Was it Marcus Cannon?
I forgot about the opt-out. I keep forgetting about the opt-outs.
Yeah.
They have 3 starters that have opted out and are shit show of a quarterback situation.
I just don't think they're the 6th worst team in the league.
Yeah, no, they have no real number 1 wide receiver. Julian Edelman's past his prime.
N'Keal Harry's a question mark.
Yeah, we don't know anything about N'Keal Harry. And Kobe Myers, I think, is another wide receiver on that roster right now.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers.
Other than that, who the hell do they have? 2 rookie tight ends and some dude that I can't name. So back to the top 5 running backs. Number 3, Nick, who do you have?
My number 3 was Zeke, which is, we already talked about that.
Barkley at number 3, and it seems like my number 2 is going to be the wild card in all of this, the old razzle dazzle. Barkley.
I have Barkley at 4.
Yep. So Barkley's so high because his offensive line was the 17th in the league, and he still had 1,000 yards on 217 attempts with a 4.6 average, which in my top 5 is the second lowest. Second lowest.
I don't dispute that. Barkley probably could have been moved up higher on my list. But I mean, I can't say anything bad about him. Anybody who thinks that they can plug in some kind of random running back into the Giants roster, and them have 3,500 scrimmage yards over the last 2 years with a rookie quarterback in Daniel Jones and a very turnover-prone Eli Manning. You're just crazy if you think anybody but Barkley or any of these top 5 running backs are going to get into that roster and do the numbers that he did.
I think I had Barkley at 6 or 7. Like I said, I look at the situation he's in. He's got a new head coach. God knows what a Joe Judge is going to do. I mean, they kind of revamped that whole coaching staff, and then you got a young offensive line, no receivers.
I love that coaching staff. Joe Judge, Freddie Kitchens, and Jason Garrett.
So
this is going to be the ultimate shit show.
No question his talent. He's an incredibly talented guy. No question there. But, I mean, Jesus, can you work in that system the first year? I mean, we're talking about just 2020, not going on. First year in a new offense. No real receiving threat. Questions at quarterback, questions at head coach. I couldn't put him in the top 5 just for that.
Okay. Number 2. Mine's the wild card, so I'm gonna go last here. Nick Foles would have been a better fit in New England, I assume you're talking about, Tori?
I
started to say that,
man, but I'm not going to. I love Nick Foles, and I think the Eagles were stupid for getting rid of him.
Oh, I agree. Oh, Carson Wentz is way too injury prone, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yep.
Do you think Kansas City is going to be a tough team? Of course.
Yeah, they're the Super Bowl champions, and they brought back almost their entire roster. Very few people have left that team from last year. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough team.
In 2 or 3 years, that team's going to be in salary cap hell already.
Yeah.
So, their window is very tight, and then they're going to pull a Russell Wilson and not be doing another Super Bowl.
No.
Yeah, just went there, Nick. Oh, I did that.
Don't do that.
All right, so number 2, Bryce, who'd you have?
I went Chubb. I don't get the disrespect.
Chubb.
I'm okay with that.
Nick,
he's going to thrive in that offense.
My number 2 is Derrick Henry. The reason why I put Derrick Henry so high, and maybe I'm wrong, but when it came time to put up or shut up, he did it twice in the playoffs for over 180 plus yards, 2 games.
Let's see if he can do it. And Shane, we see your comment. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see if he can do it again. Now that they've paid Ryan Tannehill, they know he's the guy now.
Yeah.
When they switched over from Marcus Mariota to Ryan Tannehill, that's when Derrick Henry really put on the Jets. Now we know Ryan Tannehill's the guy moving forward.
Absolutely.
So what is the game plan for that offense now? Run through Derrick Henry, or is Ryan Tannehill gonna? Because Ryan Tannehill has shown spurts of being great.
Spurts.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, and I am gonna look it up just so I don't look like a complete idiot, but I'm pretty sure Tennessee is a pretty balanced in between. Like, it's not obviously 50-50 every game, but they're within a few plays of run and pass of each other. They're not heavy run. They're not heavy pass, but they lean on Ryan Tannehill, and if he can't get the job done, Derrick Henry's a workhorse.
But even when Ryan Tannehill started passing the ball towards the end of the season, we saw A.J. Brown emerge as a young superstar.
Absolutely.
And then Jonnu Smith also started emerging as a young, good player. So that offense has weapons. It's a matter of, do they want to run it through Derrick Henry?
I would say you'd got to let Ryan Tannehill, after you've paid him the way that they paid him, to run the offense and try and throw the ball.
I think all quarterbacks should throw the ball.
I mean, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's Ryan Tannehill. Not swap that. Ryan Tannehill's Ryan Fitzpatrick. You paid him, you made a mistake, and he's going to take about a half a season to show you why.
Fair enough. So my number 2.
Let's hear it. I'm ready to hear it.
I've got none other than the Minnesota product himself, Dalvin Cook. Now, let me tell you why. Because I see that look, Bryce. You're just like, oh, you're insane.
I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Dalvin Cook had 1,135 yards on 250 attempts with 13 touchdowns and a 4.5 average. So he has the worst average in my top 5. However, Dalvin Cook was working the 21st worst offensive line in the league.
Okay.
So on my guys, the next closest is Christian McCaffrey at 18. McCaffrey had the 18th worst offensive line, or technically it would be the 18th best. They ranked 18th in the league. Dalvin Cook, 21st in the league. Saquon, 17th. Alvin Kamara, 5th. Henry, 8th. So Dalvin Cook had to do that extra work because his offensive line is trash in Minnesota. On top of he had those 53 receptions for 519 yards. That was a 9.8 average from the pass game. If Dalvin Cook can stay healthy, like he did in 2019, he is another dangerous running back.
But that's the question. Can he stay healthy? He hadn't been able to.
He's actually only missed, I believe it was 6 games in his 4-year career so far.
Well, you got to count college too. He had history concerns in college at Florida State. Fantasy football every year. I stay away from him just for that reason. He had a year where he's healthy. You lose your offensive coordinator.
I'm sorry.
See it. Go ahead.
He's had a 3-year career where he's had in 2017 he only started 4 games. In 2018 he only started 10, and in 2019 he started 14.
Yeah, they sat him the last 2 weeks on purpose. Yep. That was designed.
Yep.
But yeah, so I got his injuries mixed up. My bad.
No. It's all good, and I absolutely agree with you that Minnesota line is pretty awful.
Can you name a single offensive lineman in Minnesota right now?
No, I cannot.
Garrett Bradbury, just because they drafted him.
Bradbury, who was a rookie in 2019.
Yeah.
And I can name Pat Effling because I use Minnesota in Madden. But I use Minnesota in Madden. I still can't name another freaking offensive lineman.
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't even name those 2 guys if I'm being completely honest.
That offensive line has a lot of work to do, and I mean Garrett Bradbury is a superstar in the making.
Yeah,
it's just he's green still. He's not at that level. The rest of the
I agree with you.
Change them with anybody.
So, is it come to a consensus that all 3 of us said that Run CMC is the number 1 running back going into the 2020 season?
Do you want me to run over the stats real quick?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna come out and say it. He had as much of a maniac season catching the ball as he did running it, and was the ultimate dual threat, dude. 2,392 yards from scrimmage in 2019. CMC was rude to the Panthers opponents, man. It was brutal.
With nobody at quarterback.
Nobody at quarterback. I'm pretty sure he had 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, and he even returned. And he had punt returns last year as well.
So his exact numbers for 2019: 287 rush attempts, 1,387 yards, 15 touchdowns on a 4.8 average. In the pass game, he had 116 receptions for 1,005 yards, 4 touchdowns on an 8.7 average.
Disrespectful to the opponents.
And Michael Thomas had 140 receptions, but he's a receiver. This is a running back with 116. It's disgusting.
But now that Teddy Bridgewater is there, and Teddy Bridgewater is a quote-unquote real quarterback, does the run game get scaled back?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Does Teddy Bridgewater throw to Christian McCaffrey 116 times?
I mean, why wouldn't?
I think so.
If your receivers are, if your receivers aren't open, your tucked down is Christian McCaffrey. I'm definitely throwing the ball to Christian McCaffrey.
Imagine Tom Brady with Christian McCaffrey. Best check down quarterback ever.
Don't disrespect Brock Osweiler like that.
So that's our top 5 running backs. Normally, at this point, we'd have a commercial if we had commercials to put on. We lost Nick. So we're going to go into a lot of interesting news that's happened over this week. And we're going to start this with Gerald McCoy, the former we got both there, injury and release. So Gerald McCoy got injured, tore his quad or his ACL or something like that. And they had a provision written into the contract that if he did hurt his quad in any way, shape, or form, they could release him from his 3-year deal. Do you 3 see him able to maintain that production? I'm going to, just to clarify, Ryan, are you talking about CMC? And then when that comes back, we'll go tie back to that real quick. We just want to make sure it's CMC. So McCoy only gets that $3 million signing bonus, and the rest of his 3-year, $18 million deal, splat, done, gone. He is no longer a Dallas Cowboy. McCoy is a good defensive tackle. To sit for CMC. So they're not willing. We'll go back to that in a second. They're not willing to sit McCoy for that year. They just want their money and be done with McCoy. Does that mean Gerald McCoy's career is probably over?
Yes, just being frank with you. I mean, at this point, I think he was more of a veteran presence more than anything in the locker room. He can still produce, but he's not the X factor he was. And I mean, if you look at the depth they have on that line. They got Everson Griffin now, we're going to talk about later. Tristan Hill, Dorrance Armstrong, Randy Gregory, Alden Smith, D. Law still there. They didn't need him. They just needed his presence. And once that's gone, cut him. He's through.
I don't think he's going to be playing much if they cut ties with him anywhere else, unless somebody's really struggling for that, like Bryce said, veteran presence in the locker room.
You have to wait a year. Nobody's going to sign him this year no matter what.
I don't think anybody's going to sign him in the next year either.
I could see somebody like Cincinnati. They are desperate for a defensive tackle, and they don't know how to draft one.
I watch a lot of – Gerald McCoy comes on FS1 a lot, and I watch him. He seems like a smart guy. I think he knows it's probably over. I mean, I know he's got to be 32, 33. The smart guy, I think he'd go into broadcast, and I think he knows it's over.
He's 32.
32, yeah.
Yep. I just don't see him coming back after that, man.
All right. So going back to the CMC thing real quick, I personally do not believe he maintains that production with a real quarterback there that can actually throw the ball to DJ Moore. I don't see him getting 2,000 yards from the line of scrimmage again.
I'm not going to take away 2,000 yards from the line of scrimmage, but close to 3,000, I don't know. I definitely don't think he's going to have a thought.
He wasn't close to 3,000.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Over 2,000. Sorry, I got derailed there. But he's definitely not going to catch 1,000 yards, and he's not going to rush for 1,000 yards both 1,000 and rushing and receiving and rushing. Sorry. I'm having a rough time there.
Yeah, you're doing bad right now. Bryce, do you think he maintains the production?
3 guys in the history of the NFL have had 1,000 receiving, 1,000 rushing in one season. That's Roger Craig, Marshall Faulk, and CMC. 100 years in the NFL has happened 3 times. No, I don't think it ever happens again. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to plummet. He's still going to be probably the number 1 running back going into next year, but he won't have 1,000 again.
So, Everson Griffin signing. Obviously, we already said that Dallas Cowboys signed him to I believe it was a 1-year, $6 million deal.
Yeah.
Now, the timing couldn't have been any more perfect because 2 days later, we lose Gerald McCoy. Does Everson Griffin have a serious effect on the Dallas Cowboys defensive line, though?
Here's my only problem with that signing. they changed their defensive coordinator in January, Mike Nolan, who bases out of a 3-4 defense. Where does Everson Griffin fit in there? I don't think he's big enough to be a 3-4 end. I think he's like 270. I don't think he's athletic enough to play an outside edge rusher. And like I was talking about earlier, with all the depth on that line, I mean, he's a great player. He's going to make an impact somewhere. It's just where.
Thoughts on that, Nick?
I think it's a good signing for them. I don't know how much production he's going to have, but man, I was hoping the guy was going to go Seattle, if I'm being completely honest with you.
You want any defensive end to go to Seattle?
We need every defensive end in Seattle. But
speaking of Seattle, Shane, I completely forgot about you, man. How do you feel about the Seahawks' chances, Nick, especially? Let's let you open this one.
I like their odds this year, man. I think the secondary that they've put work into this season in the offseason, all of the secondary work, it's okay that their defensive line was so bad last year because their secondary wasn't that good with a whole bunch of question marks. And now I feel like it's a little bit more established, which will allow the defensive line to get some time to get to the quarterback. I think it's going to be a huge difference. The 49ers and the Seahawks are going to be the ones that are battling for the win of that division. And Arizona is going to make a wild card. The three of those teams are making the playoffs this year.
Wow.
Yeah, so Bryce, we have 2 episodes of this before you, so we have a little bit of history here to work with.
Yeah, jeez. I don't know. I think the 49ers pulled back for sure, Super Bowl slump, but
I fully agree. I think with this new wild card system and there being 3 wild cards, they still do make a wild card, though.
10 wins, just like every year.
So, in reality, can you name one top 5 paid quarterback in the last 10 years that has won a Super Bowl?
I don't think
it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
What is Russell Wilson right now?
Go ahead.
He's the fifth high. Yeah, because I believe that Tannehill extension put him above Russell. He is the 5th highest behind Tannehill, Cousins, obviously Mahomes, and there's somebody else there. I think it's Rodgers.
So I don't know when this was dated. March 4th. That's definitely wrong.
So use it because it just won't have Mahomes. So who's number 1 on that will be number 2.
Well, it says Mahomes and Russell Wilson top for 2020, and it says that actually Russell Wilson's the 2nd highest paid quarterback.
Okay, even better. He's the 2nd highest paid quarterback.
So you got Patrick at 45, Russell at 34, Roethlisberger 34. Russell Wilson was 35. Roethlisberger's 34. Rodgers is 33.5. And Jared Goff is at 33.5 as well.
First off, I was completely wrong on my numbers. No big deal.
Let me see if I can't just pop this up real quick. Here we go.
But even this further proves my point. No? Okay.
Sorry. There we go.
Yeah, there's Cousins. There's Tannehill at 10. Matt Ryan at 9. Dak Prescott at 8. But that is only on the franchise tag. He still has to actually get paid. Wentz at 7.
A lot of mediocrity on that list.
Yeah. No, you're right. Look at Jared Goff. So the top 4 have Super Bowls. Then you have Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins does not get enough credit. I'm going to start right there. He really does not. Carson Wentz can't stay healthy. Dak Prescott is –
Do we want to keep that up? Sorry.
There we go. Dak Prescott is one of the most underrated quarterbacks of this current generation. Yeah, I said it.
Nah.
He said nah.
We can spend another hour on that if you want to. Yeah, let's get back on track.
Oh, boy. Oh, we had Nick for 2 seconds.
What?
What? I'm out of here.
That was great. That's it. That's all you got for us backstage. That we want to thank Nick Lombardi from the Wind Up and the Square Circle Talk for running backstage for us tonight. He's a great guy. We love him. But Prescott is the most underrated quarterback of this generation, and we are moving back on to get on subject because we are behind on our time schedule.
I think we're looking at the Clowney. No, Melvin Gordon holdout.
We got Melvin Gordon holdout. So
Ingram.
He already makes a metric shit ton of money, and he wants more. It's your he's going into the final year of his deal. It's your basic player trying to strong arm the team when they actually have leverage. That's all it is.
If you look at his contract, though, he's not guaranteed anything this year.
If he plays and he produces, which it's Melvin Ingram, he's going to, and he doesn't get hurt, he gets all his money.
Like I'm all for the players trying to get advantages and trying to be like, hey, I need to get paid more because I'm producing, and if running back shelf lives are not very long, let's all get real. But you signed the contract.
Ingram is defensive end.
I'm sorry.
You're still thinking Gordon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm all for players holding out, man. I mean, you can look at it from the organizational standpoint. They got a lot of guys they're going to have to pay in the next few years. Hunter Henry, Keenan Allen, guys like that. But at the same time, you got to get yours. You're not going to play forever. Melvin Gordon's 32. Ingram, you got me saying Gordon. Melvin Ingram's 32. He's got maybe another year or two. And Melvin Ingram grew up about 20 minutes where I'm from, so I'm never going to go against him.
I think they need to let Keenan Allen walk. The guy's made of glass. And pay Melvin Ingram.
But with Justin Herbert going to take over, you want him going out there with not a true number one?
Yeah, draft one next year in the first round.
I don't think they're going to be drafting high enough to get one. It's not a receiver class we saw last year.
No, there's not going to be a receiver class like that for a long time.
No.
So we covered that. Let's get into Jadeveon Clowney now. Nick, we'll let you open this one up because you want him to go to Seattle again.
I actually don't at this point. I actually don't at this point. I'm honestly, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I kind of want to see him, not get picked up by a team. I don't think that's going to actually happen. Maybe he sits out for the season because nobody's offering him the money. I doubt it because it's Jadeveon Clowney. But, dude, you're asking for so much money and the market has gone down for your position so much. Just, I don't understand it. Where do you see him going?
I can see him going to Los Angeles. We were just talking about it. Let's say they don't want to re-sign Melvin Gordon. Frees you up money. You get somebody a few years younger to put beside Joey Bosa.
Yeah, but with Jadeveon Clowney's injury report, man, do you want to swap the two of those?
I get a 5-year younger player. I would. I mean, He's on the field. He's a game changer.
But
I like it.
So, reported by the Game Changer Sports Network in an article about a week ago, Jadeveon Clowney turned down offers for $15 million a year, unknown amount of years on the contract, and unknown who offered the contracts. We can all assume Seattle's one of those teams. He wanted $20 million, so he was turning down $15. Now, I fully expect him to play this year, and he's going to get picked up, and I don't know what Kansas City's cap room is, but it's going to be a contender that has about $8 million to play with. Or he's going to go to the Patriots, because the Patriots are famous for getting one-year prove-it deals and then shipping them off. But you get Kansas City, maybe Houston, Arizona to pair with Chandler Jones. It's all I don't know
good.
cap space off the top of my head right now. So
a lot of young players. I doubt.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I don't see Clowney sitting out this year. In reality, I see him signing a 1 year, $7 to $9 million deal right before the season starts.
I want to see him sit out after how much he was turning down. That's just me personally. I don't know how many prove-it deals we can keep giving this guy with his injury report. Sorry, man.
Did he have any prove-it deals?
Dude, he was on a 1 year thing with Houston when they traded him, wasn't it? Or was that his rookie contract?
No, that was the tail end of his rookie deal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tail end of rookie career.
And then I believe Seattle gave him the franchise tag.
Yeah.
So there's been no prove-it deals for Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, you're right.
Does he need to prove he can stay healthy? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not disputing that.
I don't think a guy like that sits out this year. I mean, he's going to give you 9-10 sacks. He's going to be a force in stopping the run. I don't see him sitting. I'm like Nick. Somebody's going to pick him up probably the last week of the preseason on a 1 year deal.
Yep.
And that's going to be that.
2014, he started 2 games. 2015, 9, 16, 14, and 17, 16. 16 in 2017 is the highest amount of games that he's played. And he didn't even start 2018 with 14 starts. He only had 14 starts. Yeah, man. This guy's he has so many injuries, man.
And we're not disputing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's risk for sure, but I mean, my whole big thing is when he's on the field, if you can have Jadeveon Clowney on the field 14 games a year,
yeah,
that's a game changer.
He only got 3 sacks in Seattle, but that doesn't show like how much of an issue he was for opposing offenses. Like just being there and being a presence and making the quarterback have to scramble to get away from him. The 3 sacks does not show how valuable he was to the Seahawks last year.
And he's a force in the run. I don't see him as much as an edge. It's more like it's a tricky word, like a pass rushing DN. Like he's a force in the run game. Unlike most finesse edge rushers, he's a force in the run game.
Absolutely. All right,
like I fully believe he's just going to sign a 1 year prove-it deal. We are getting into Arizona next.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to start with Bryce because, again, this is something we have history on the show. Bryce, do you think Arizona makes a wild card spot?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I don't believe so.
So last week we went over who we think is going to win the division. So we're going to just speed round this real quick for you. Let's get you caught up. Let's find out where you're at. NFC East, who do you got?
East, I'll probably see. Cowboys 1, Eagles 2, Giants 3, Redskins 4.
West.
Seattle 1. This is a tough one. I'm going to go Rams 2, 49ers 3, Arizona 4.
Ooh.
I think the Rams jump back this year. I think that's my main reason they're not a wild card team.
9. Sorry, wow, 9. What the? North.
I'm going to go Vikings 1, Packers 2, Lions 3, Bears 4.
South.
Bucks 1, Saints 2, Panthers 3, Falcons 4.
Wild cards.
And there's 3 teams can make it, right?
Yep.
I don't know. Give me some ideas. Who you guys think? That's tough to say.
I think you got in the NFC. I think you got 2 teams out of the West getting it, man. That's just
I think
me.
you can go.
And then I think it's going to be the Eagles or the Cowboys.
I think you can go Eagles. I'd like to see the Lions make a wild card. I think with Stafford back, I think they could. They're a good team. Stafford's like Cousin. I don't think Stafford gets the respect he deserves. And maybe 3. I don't know.
So I have the Bucks, the Cardinals, and the 49ers as my wild cards.
Yeah.
I don't think the Rams jump back. Jared Goff isn't a good quarterback.
Dude, I just think the NFC West is too deep of a division for the Rams to have as bad of a season that they had last year and turn it right back around when you got to face these three other teams that are San Francisco's been proven for a little while, and Arizona is – I mean, they didn't have a great season last year, but they made some great offseason moves, and
they did.
I'm really looking forward to
Kyler Murray is the next big quarterback. He is the next big thing in the NFL.
I totally agree with you.
I don't disagree with you. Look, they've been killing the draft the past few years, and they made some sparkly off-season moves, and I think we all getting fooled by that. Cliff Kingsbury, we still don't really know if he can coach. You got a lot of young players outside of Larry Fitz, who's ancient. I mean, you got, let's run it down, Patrick Peterson, not the corner you used to be. You got Budda Baker.
Budda Baker's only like 24.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking old players. I'm going to young players now. Budda Baker.
Oh, got it.
Isaiah Simmons, where are they going to play him? That's a question mark. Byron Murphy, Christian Kirk. Who's their tight end? Does anybody know? A security blanket for Murray? Anybody? I got no idea.
Looking at their roster right now. Tight end is Dan Arnold. Charles Clay and Dan Arnold.
Yeah, ancient Charles Clay, who had one good season. My whole point is they're a young roster that doesn't know how to close out games. They were in a lot of games last year, but they don't know how to close them out. I think that translated this year.
So you don't think that adding DeAndre Hopkins for Kyler Murray to throw to, quite possibly the second best wide receiver in the National Football League, is going to help him progress forward?
I think it helps him progress forward. Is it making a wild card team? No. I think they're a 7-win team.
You're telling me that an offense that is led by Kyler Murray, Kenyon Drake, DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, and Christian Kirk, with a defense that is also just as stacked, is not a wild card team. If Seattle wasn't in that division, I'd be calling them the division winners right now.
Well, my whole thing is Rams. I believe the Rams are going to bounce back. You still got the 49ers and the Seahawks in that division, and young teams just they don't win early. I'm not saying the Cardinals aren't going to be good in 2 or 3 years. I think they're going to be a force, but this year I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think they actually regress a little bit.
2 seasons and he has a Super Bowl.
What are we talking about? That's Pat Mahomes.
I just want to
2 seasons.
That's a generational talent. You can't compare.
They've actually got a relatively young roster with only like 13 people who have more than 5 years experience in the league.
And that poses problems in big games that they can't close out.
I just wanted to point it out.
I think having Larry Fitzgerald, who has been through it all minus the Super Bowl, and now DeAndre Hopkins, specifically in the locker rooms, is what's going to help them.
I mean, I'm like I said, they're drafting well, and they've knocked it out of the park these last 2 drafts, besides Josh Rosen. But, I mean, they're set up for the future, but for 2020, I just don't see it. Not as a wild card team.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't see them as a Super Bowl team. No. Hell no. They're a first-round knockout, but they're going to make wild card. The Rams, I don't know what your obsession here with the Rams is, and I'm going to tear you apart all season on this, but they are not making the playoffs.
I can't give up on Jared Goff after one bad season. He throws a good ball. You still got Sean McVay. I think he's going to come in with some new stuff this year. 2 years ago, Jared Goff was in the Super Bowl. Now, he crapped the bed in the Super Bowl, but he was in the Super Bowl. He had a good season that year. He made a Pro Bowl. So, I mean, we can't give up on him after one bad season.
Sean McVay's the only man to blow 2 Super Bowl leads, so I'm okay with it. Oh, my shoulder hurts.
I don't think Jared Goff's is as bad as everybody gives him crap for.
Nah, he had a bad season, but
you want to know who is the most overrated quarterback in NFL history, and he's only going on his 2nd freaking year?
Who's that?
So help me God, it's Lamar Jackson.
Wow.
The dude cannot throw a ball.
He doesn't have to. I mean, he throws a decent ball, but I mean,
he's a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
but is literally to throw the freaking ball.
Jake, this isn't 1985. You don't have to be 6'5" and just chuck the ball downfield. These spread offenses, you need a guy that can run around. Now, look, if Lamar Jackson knocks his ACL out, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
But as long as he's mobile,
running quarterback takes that one big hit that takes him out and changes their game forever.
But is that a reason to call him
overrated? Say something when
you
come in and just give me that look.
I wanted Nick to give me one of those. Go ahead.
Proven by Tennessee. If you keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket and force him to throw, he can't do it. He's not accurate. He throws like a wide receiver.
So, I mean, Peyton Manning was crap early on in his career, too, in the playoffs. I mean, but is he overrated? No. It's young quarterbacks. Let's circle back to the young players. They just can't win in the playoffs, besides Patrick Mahomes.
Manning early in his career wasn't overthrowing a wide-open receiver by fucking 15 yards.
He was throwing double-digit interceptions, though.
That's a different thing. That's a learning curve.
I just don't know how you call the MVP of the league overrated. That's bonkers.
What MVP? Because the MVP is a joke to begin with. Christian McCaffrey should have won that.
I don't disagree with you, but he is the MVP.
I'm sorry. I'm just enjoying this.
Jackson.
I don't think he's the best quarterback in the league, but to call him overrated is a bit out there.
The NFL Top 100 put him at number 1. That is overrated. You just said yourself he's not the best quarterback in the league.
But he was the MVP this year, though. Is the MVP not the best player in the league? Yeah. So he's number 1 in the top 100. Take him. Go ahead.
I agree with you. We say putting him at number 1 makes him overrated. That is absolutely overrated. But isn't that NFL's top 100 made by the players?
And it's voted on in like November. So it's not like a postseason. They got to have it ready for postseason. It's voted on in like November. And who was on the top of the league in November?
Even worse.
Lamar Jackson.
This is all of this is a sham. They need to do something to make this better.
Oh, man.
Patrick Mahomes throws for 5,000 yards, doesn't win the MVP. Jackson can't throw a 5-yard pass and wins the MVP because he can run the ball. Damn, I hate Lamar Jackson.
Jake, I feel like there's a lot pinned up in there.
Look, I don't think Lamar Jackson did so much for the Ravens to deserve. So when I look at MVP, I look at how much that one player actually affected and lifted that team. And I don't think Lamar Jackson did as much as other people in the league to deserve that title.
I fully agree. I would be sold on
So hold up, let me just stop right there. So most valuable player on the team. So if Joe Flacco was back there quarterbacking, it had the same success.
No, if it was the same success, Joe Flacco does not win MVP.
No, because he doesn't fit the system. But if RG3 steps into Lamar Jackson's role, he is a prototype of Lamar Jackson. It's just like if Jimmy Garoppolo had gone in for Tom Brady in the ACL year, then Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't win MVP. Tom Brady wouldn't win MVP because they're interchangeable. RG3 and Jackson are both interchangeable. They're the same player through and through.
Wow. All right.
Jeez,
okay.
All right.
Yeah.
They're the same player in the system, I should say. They're not the same player. Because Lamar Jackson is a little bit better than RG3, but the system will raise RG3 to Lamar Jackson's level, just like every quarterback that's ever taken over for Brady in New England. All of a sudden, Jacoby Brissett's a superstar quarterback for 2 games. It's the system. It's built around that style of quarterback.
My thing with Lamar is every year since college he's got better. So I think he comes out this year. I don't see regression from him.
Look, man. Hold on. Look at this, okay? I disagree with Jake in the fact that I think Lamar Jackson is a good quarterback. I don't think he's overrated in the sense that I don't think he's the number one quarterback, and I don't think he should have been MVP, but overrated, when you say overrated, I think of like somebody who just gets so much more praise than they deserve. And
like
I don't think Lamar Jackson is that far off from the praise that he's getting, just slightly. That's just kind of where I was getting at.
Lamar already did win a playoff game, didn't he? We got Matt Boyce's comment. He had to have won one because he was in the first round bye and then made it to the AFC Championship game. So
check this out, though. How many quarterbacks that have been the style of quarterback that Lamar Jackson is, that run and go quarterback that Lamar Jackson is, how long's their shelf life? You said he's going to be better. He gets better since college and better and better and better. But how long before he blows out his knees?
I mean, but you got to be looking, we're in a different style of game now. I mean, Michael Vick coming to the league in 2001, and he's still the prototype working under center. But now you got the spread offense coming in from college. There's still a chance he blows out his knees, but I think he's better suited for success.
Oh, the Patriots and Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. It was a divisional round knockout by Tennessee. My bad.
Yeah,
we will check this out for a second. I mean, give me an example of somebody other than obviously Michael Vick who was successful that the league didn't adapt to when they were going to look at when the run option was so big, like 2014, 13 in the NFL. Right in there. Yeah, so somewhere around there, the run option was huge. How long did it take for the league to adjust to that? Not very long.
I mean, you got me there, but I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think Lamar is he's going to have a long career. I mean, he doesn't take hits. I think that's the big thing with Lamar. You're not taking.
He hasn't really had an opportunity to see how
he has to learn to throw the ball. He has to learn to go about the way that Cam Newton went about. Because Cam Newton came in the league just like Lamar Jackson, got injured, and then learned how to throw. Lamar Jackson hasn't learned how to throw. And with that being said, we are up against the clock, guys. We have literally 61 seconds left, so I'm going to start doing my outro. I don't mean to cut you off there, Bryce, but time is time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us again on another beautiful episode of 60-Yard Dash. If you missed the wind-up on Monday, go back and watch it. Nick and Gavin did a great job. They are phenomenal together. They are funny. They are great to listen to, and I make an appearance every now and again. On Tuesdays, we got what we just did. Don't worry. We'll be back next Tuesday. Hopefully, Bryce will be with us again because that was fun. Tomorrow, we got our Squared Circle talk. That's all wrestling all the time. And that is 2 hours for you. Then we got our doubleheader on Thursday. We got Behind the Basket and Inside the Ice. I said them in the opposite order, but make sure you join us for both of them. And then Saturday, what we're doing, we're talking about sports. Yes, I'm going to skip that and go to Sunday, Circus Monkey Sports. Have a great night. We will see you next week.